Hey there, Shayna Weber here with ISA. If you are new to the Emerging Screenwriter interview series, welcome. I do a little intro before you see the interview and kind of give a little highlight. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. In this interview, I am talking to Diane Lansing. I've known Diane for a long time. She is part of the ISA development slate, and she's just a really fabulous person. So I had a great time talking to her and sort of learning a little bit more about her background, how she started as an actor and then moved to being a playwright. She is multifaceted, and most recently, she made a really wonderful short film called Trust that is on the festival circuit right now. So if you can find that or get a chance to watch that, it's amazing. Diane and I talked about her background, and she gives some great advice on what to do when you get stuck. I personally took the advice in myself and I'm working on trying to unstuck myself. So enjoy this interview with Diane Lansing. Hi, Diane.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Good. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I'm excited to hear about your journey, your process, your writing style, all of that. So we will jump into it by asking just the initial, icebreaker question, which is, what are you watching? What are you into right now in television and film?
I'm in the funniest places. I go from like one extreme to the other. Like we just watched Painkillers on Netflix. It was amazing. Story, acting, the directing. I kept going, oh my God, the directing, because I'm starting to think a little more like a director than I used to. So I'm seeing shots and I'm not even aware of it until I'm doing it. And I go, oh, so this is a different perspective on what you're watching. And then we watched this old movie, Since You Went Away, and it was very corny, but the shots in it were phenomenal. Some of the most beautiful filmmaking I've seen. It was just gorgeous. So I'm aware of different things with different movies and shows. It all switches all the time.
I love that. I love that you're looking at films and shows from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Where are you going with that directing? So let's talk about moving into that director space and like using that muscle.
Well, it's funny because the only reason I even started directing was kind of a happen chance thing. A friend said, she read one of my plays. I was a playwright at the time. And she said, could we make this into a short film? And I said, okay, sure, I'll do that for you. And so we worked on that. And she goes, would you direct it? And I go, I've never directed anything. And she goes, it's okay. So I said, all right. So thank you, YouTube, because I've gotten education that, that I think people spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get, because there are a lot of very generous people out there that are willing to share their information. So I just got into it. And I don't really consider myself a director per se. I want to direct the things that I'm writing.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? If that's I guess, does that make me more filmmaker than director? Like I will direct, but it comes from a different place than just saying, I want to be a director. I like writing a lot. I love writing.
I think that's such a female thing to say, though. Like, not that I'm a director, but I like to do you are a director. You're a director.
Okay.
You're a filmmaker, director, writer. You're all of it. We can
Right.
successfully say that because you
Okay. Own it, right? Is that what you're
right.
saying? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because I mean, it's just different. Like we're always like almost apologetic about, well, I don't know, because we feel like we have to take all these steps, right, to get to that
Right.
place where you can call yourself a director, but you are directing, so you're a director. So here
Okay. All
we are.
right. I learned a lot from I have a short film that's doing the circuit right now, and making that film was one of the most wonderful creative experiences I've ever had. And a lot of it that from doing smaller ones and more guerrilla style things, I learned that the more steps you take in casting and things like that create an ease about being called a director, because they're there, it's all together, and you've taken the time to do your homework, put everything together, be aware of what could happen, rain, things like that. When we filmed Trust, it was the funniest thing. It was the day Biden won, and we were in West Hollywood, and they had I am not exaggerating, for the entire shoot, our ears were ringing when it was over because they were doing a parade 3 blocks away. And so horns honking, and this is a quiet film. So then I learned how to do post and how to get a great person for sound and how you can be creative with sound. So it all, you learn as you go, but I've learned a lot about preparation, that being prepared is really important for any project that you want to do.
Well, Trust is a beautiful, beautiful short.
Thank you.
That was very touched. And I can't believe you filmed that in West Hollywood.
Well, just that, obviously, those scenes, the next day was in Franklin Park, which was also one of those things where I fell in love with both locations, and both ended up problematic and expensive, but I couldn't let go of them because they were the right ones. So I had to really fight and pay extra for having that vision,
Yeah.
But you fall in love and that's it.
Let's talk about the beginning for you. When did you become, so you started as a playwright?
No, I started as an actor.
Okay.
And I loved doing, like, Tennessee and those types of crazy women. But then I started really looking at the new plays coming out, and still a lot of the women were either insane or whores. And I went, okay, it's fun stuff, but I think we have other aspects that we could be working on here. So that's what inspired me to start telling some stories, and for my female actress friends, and try to give them depth and nuance, and still let them be quirky and crazy and all the things I love, about acting. So that's where it started. And so I started writing their plays. And then, without getting into any detail, I've had a little falling out with some of the playwrights. And I just went, I'm moving on to something else. I feel the need to write, and maybe this isn't my medium. And so that's where I started working on screenwriting. And it took me a while to get my feet in, to really figure out. I'm still, every day is a new day of learning, as you know. It's like it never ends.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was the progression.
Okay. And how many scripts have you written so far?
Well, 3 plays, and I'm working on my 9th screenplay, and that's not counting Trust, which was short, was 14 pages. So I don't really consider that a screenplay. It's a short play. And it's just working on my 9th right now, and I'm loving this one. It's like a lot of fun. So yeah.
Awesome. And is there like a through line for all of your scripts? Are they all female main characters? Like, what is the thing that you put into all of your scripts that connects them all?
Sounds so corny, but heart. I do have messages, and you learn how to get your message, have fun with having a message without preaching, and letting it be part of the character's journey, not your journey. And so I love quirkiness. I love, like, somebody said, who inspires you, and Greta Gerwig, Wes Anderson, people like that write these really quirky people. I don't go that far, but I still enjoy it, and I feel like it infuses what I do, what I like to do. Coming of age, I write coming of age, and that's basically, but as I get older, coming of age gets older. So my Mad Art Gallery, which I'm hoping to make as my first feature, she's in her 30s, but for me, she's coming of age. So I'm writing it that way, thinking of that way, so it's kind of cool when you think about life that way.
It is.
It's all coming of age.
And we need stories from every age range. It can't just be of age for a teenager.
Right.
We're all reinventing ourselves as we go, and like figuring out new things and learning new things. So I love that. What are your favorite movies that you like to watch? Do you have those movies that you'll just watch on repeat, or are you somebody who jumps around? Like, what are your favorite films, even when you were, a kid, all the way till now? Do you have those favorites?
Oh yeah. As far as classics, I love Philadelphia Story. I love Some Like It Hot. I love all the really wonderful rom-coms from that era. They were so light and funny and natural in so many ways. So I find those to be really they touch my heart. And of course, then you can take that into When Harry Met Sally and all those classics, which are more recent classics, but now they've become classic. And I don't really, I guess I always have a little romance, but I don't just think, oh, I want to write romantic comedy. I enjoy the genre, but it's not, I like dramedy. Like my dramas are funny and my comedies end up having drama. That's just how I write. It's just, people don't like that term, but I think it's brilliant because it works. It's not fun. It's fun. It's both. I just saw Oppenheimer, and except for sitting for 3 hours and it killing my back, I loved it. And I thought it was brilliant. And yes, maybe a little bit shorter, but I think that if I wasn't uncomfortable sitting, I would have sat for another hour because it was so engrossing and such an amazing movie. So, I'm all over the place with what I like.
Good. I the more I've asked this question, the more eclectic answers I get of just running the gamut of different where you're like, what? Like, it's so great and juicy. I just love it. What do you think drives you in terms of telling stories? What's the thing that keeps you going? What's that fire that ignites you? Like, what do you want to share with the world? What do you want? How do you want to leave your legacy in terms of filmmaking?
If I can make a character come alive, and make that character someone that you relate to and learn from and want to like experience again, like I've said that about other films of mine that I've appreciated, that would be pretty fabulous. I've had people come up to me after they saw Trust and say that it was important that I wrote it. And so that is like, whoa, that's a big thing to hear that. I knew it as I was writing it, to be honest, because it wasn't my story. So it was easy for me to say this happened to this person and it could happen again, so let's be aware, that kind of thing. I like my characters. I fall in love with the characters almost before the story or the concept. I'll see someone, Wonder and Lightning. This is one of my favorite scripts. I was driving down PCH and I saw this little girl in a dilapidated Jeep or some old car. She's leaned back like this. Her hair's flowing in the wind. She has a surfboard on her car. And she's got a cigarette hanging out of the side, or a joint hanging out of the side of her mouth. And I just went, she's mine. She's mine. She is mine. And that's how somehow it evolved into Wonder and Lightning. It was like the title Wonder and Lightning I had before I knew what it was. It's like, oh, that's a cool title. Had no idea how to put it together to anything. And then all of a sudden I went Wonder, and she had a dog sitting next to her. That's important. And so Wonder and Lightning.
I did not know that story about Wonder and Lightning. I love that. And it's such a great story, but now visually seeing that I love that. And for you, what are your big ambitions? What are your big goals in this industry? Where are you hoping to be, let's say in a year, 5 years from now? What are you hoping for?
I'm wanting to make Med Art Gallery into a feature. I want it to be my first feature, and I've been visualizing it, and really I see it. I have my actors from Trust and someone I met from the last ISA gathering. I got my lead character, I think. We'll see how it works out, but we're going to do a reading. And so, just finding ways of making that happen are going to be on my top list of goals this next. It'll probably take another, I'd like to think it'd take less than 5 years, but realistically it could.
Yeah.
Considering post and everything.
Sure, of course. Speaking of ISA, will you talk a little bit about how you were introduced to ISA and your involvement and relationships with us at ISA?
Yeah. Well, it started with Max because I was with him in another writing program, and then he started a class. I took that class and really loved it, and loved how he was incorporating so many of the tools that I needed, but he incorporated it in a way that was really organic to take in. So I really appreciated that. And that's how I got introduced to ISA. And then I was really into the Third Thursdays and finding community with people. You know, I met Miriam Stark. I mean, I've met people that now I'm in groups with, and that was years ago, you know, but it's so cool because writing's a solitary, unless you have a writing partner, you're alone. And so finding community is just amazing. Plus, ISA has just been so supportive of me. I'm like a little bit in awe. You know, I'm like, thank you. It's nice to have a little support behind you.
When it comes to ISA, is there anything that you hope for in terms of your relationship with them, or anything that you would hope that they could help you with further?
You want to know that you're still on the radar.
Sure.
And that's about, because everything has been very supportive and I've been really grateful. So I just want to know that I'm still on the radar, and I don't have a manager. I'd love a manager. So anything I can do to help, I know that I have a body of work. So I know that that's something that I should have now. So, and I'm just sort of gearing, and that's not necessarily ISA, but it's my responsibility. And, but I'm starting to say I'm ready. And, you know, I have a feeling the two might help each other, coincide, so to speak.
All right, good. I'm going to note that down so that Felicity and I can have a call with you about that. So noted. Thank you. What is the best advice that you could share with newbie screenwriters, people who are coming up in the industry, trying to find their way? Is there any advice that you've heard that really resonated with you that you'd want to share?
Oh yeah, big time is don't be afraid of the shitty first draft, because you can't rewrite or you can't work on something that's not there. So don't be so precious with each word until you know what you're doing. And then, you know, when you get to the final, you know, runs through, then you can, you know, be more precious. But until then, just put it down and feel good about getting it down. You know, begin. It was like Goethe, you know, begin. Begin is a big one.
Have you had any problems with that in your career so far, in terms of feeling like stuck in something where you had to force yourself to continue? Like for me, I have one script that is the one I can't finish, that's just stuck there. And I know there's an issue with it, and I don't know what it is, but it's my shame script. It's like the one that I'm like, have you ever had that? And then, like, how did you get through a situation like that, or a scenario where you were stuck or something?
Well, the script I'm working on now is called Rainbow Cruise, and it's a homophobic carpenter that runs away from Some Like It Hot. That's my takeaway from Something Like It. Runs away from a murder and ends up on a gay cruise. And so it's a comedy and it's a lot of fun. And everybody that I've spoken to about it immediately goes, oh, that's good. I like that. So I know I'm on a good track conceptually. But because I was really still involved with Trust and getting it to festivals, and I'm doing this rewrite on Mad Art Gallery, I wasn't giving that world the love it needed. I kept outlining and doing rote things. But now I've started, you know, doing the character work. Fall in love with your characters. Once you do that, then it's just a joy to be there. And even if they make mistakes or you make mistakes, it's okay, because you know you're in the world. So now I'm excited again because I'm in the world. So I can recommend that to you. Find a way, because you're probably so busy with so many things. Get back in the world, you know, just let that world be there for you. And maybe do a little character work. That's always opens you up a little.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm thinking about the fact that I don't love that character. And if I can, you're so right on that. Just, I gotta figure out a way to fall in love with that character, and then he will take me on the journey that I'm
good or bad. One of my playwriting teachers, what he used to do was say, have the character walk onto the stage in front of you and ask them questions and just let them answer. And it's profound what can come up. You know, it sounds like, but it really works. And they talk to you. Like, let them talk and listen to what they have to say. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Woo!
You got it.
You guys do that too. That's amazing. I'm going to do that, and I will report back to you and let you know.
Cool.
what my character says to me. I love that. So I think that unless you have any final words that you want to share, words of wisdom, hopes, dreams, aspirations, anything like that.
Well, I know that I hesitated to begin writing because I've been an avid reader since second grade. Like I love literature. I love to read. And so writing intimidated me because I would read Thomas Wolfe and people like that and go, I can't do that. You've got your own voice, use it. And don't be intimidated by what other people are doing. Let your voice speak. That's probably it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diane, for
You got it.
being part of this interview series. I learned something, and so I hope that the viewers also.
Cool. Hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.